Hey everyone, welcome to our second class on breathing, on pranayama in this Yoga for Resilience series. Today we are going to look at free-phase breathing. So we started in our first breathing class, we were looking at abdominal breathing, belly breathing, and we're going to move on today to free-phase breathing. So we'll get going and then we can be practicing it and talk a bit about why we would want to do it and when we would want to do it. So the idea of this free phase breathing is that we break down breathing into kind of three components. So we've got our kind of throat and our mouth, then we've got our chest, then we've got our belly, abdominal muscles, that kind of area as well. So start off, find a place to sit. Hopefully you're already sat down somewhere comfortable and ready to go. If not, give the video a pause and get ready. And then when you find that comfortable place, we're just going to breathe into each section at a time. So we'll start just by breathing into kind of our throat area, and then into our chest area, and then into our belly. And then we're going to reverse that. So we're going to send the air out of our belly, send the air out of our chest, send the air out of our throat. And then we're just going to go through each of those phases as we breathe in and out. Let's just do that a couple of times together. So we're going to talk a bit. You continue to practice at your own pace. So first breathing into the throat, then breathing into the chest, then breathing into the belly. And as you breathe out, reverse that. So breathe out of the belly, then out of the chest, then out of the throat. If you can, then breathing in and out through your nose works quite well for this, but it really breathe however is most comfortable to you. If you're more of a mouth breather, then that's fine too. But maybe experiment with breathing through your nose if that works for you. So when would we want to use free phase breathing and why might we use it? Well, in terms of when we would kind of want to use it, it's not a thing we'd probably use in everyday life. It's more a kind of thing of practicing really getting that breath going. So as we get more, we improve on this technique, then it all becomes smooth. So rather than going through these three different components, we just have one continuous breath where we breathe everything in and then breathe everything out. But the reason we break it down is kind of like the reason we would break down a swim stroke. So it slows everything down, which is great to focus. But also if you're learning front crawl, then we would break down each of those points. So we'd have the entry, we'd have the reach, we'd have the catch, and we'd have the pull, and then we'd have the recovery. And we might focus on each of those areas to make sure they were all good. In the same way, we're kind of doing the same thing here, and we're breaking the breath down into these components to make sure we're breathing through all of our chest and our abdominal area and our throat and getting that all into line, and then we slow it down to make sure it's good, and then we speed it up and put it all back into progress. Now, why are we doing all of this breathing work in a Yoga for Resilience program? Well, one of the really key things about resilience is the ability to manage stress and anxiety, and the breath is a really useful tool to do that. So in yoga, we talk a lot about the mind-body connection, but if we put that into, say, like a cognitive behavioral model, what we're talking about is this idea of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors all being connected. So if you have a dog phobia, one of the things your therapist might get you to do is go and stroke a dog, and then you learn by doing the behaviors of not being afraid of the dog that your feelings and your thoughts catch up, and you say, actually, this is okay. Well, in a similar way, we can use the breath to regulate our emotions. So if we want to upregulate our emotions, like we would do if we were exercising, for example, we could breathe really fast. Or if we want to bring our levels down, if we want to reduce our stress levels, then what we could do is take slow, deep breaths. This will activate our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest system. And so by slowing the breath down, that's going to slow our feelings, our body sensations, our thoughts, everything's going to slow down. And so if we want to be able to handle that anxiety and stress, we want the ability to control our breathing. A lot of the time when we're anxious, we breathe quite shallowly and quite quickly. And so if we have this really honed, practiced ability to breathe nice, deeply, slowly, then when we are feeling that stress and anxiety, we can bring that in. But it's no good practicing it in the moment. It's no good waiting till we're feeling really anxious to then try the breathing, because it's just too hard to do it in the moment. Whereas we spend time in these kind of situations practicing it, then it's a skill that we've got honed, that we've got ready to use, so that when we need it, when we're feeling stressed, when we think, this would be a great time to do some deep breathing to calm myself down, we have that skill ready in the bank. So hopefully you're still breathing with me, and I'm going to join in, and we'll just do a bit of breathing in silence. So you can really work at your own pace here. Whatever pace works for you is fine. You can leave the eyes open, you can close the eyes, really whatever feels most comfortable to give you that focus on the breath and working through those phases of the breathing. So you can keep going for as long as you want. If you want to make this your last one, you can do as well. It's a really good thing to practice on a regular basis, and we're going to come back to this in a future lesson on breathing. So I look forward to seeing you then.